This is Hillbillies in the Bush, and today I'm going to show you guys, I'd promised a couple guys to show them how to heat treat a knife. What I got here is some used motor oil and a, well, it's a tomato juice can. I've got a blade here that's 01 tool steel and a couple other blades. It's high carbon steel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up the torch, show you guys how to get a neutral flame. A lot of guys, some guys may use a carburizing flame, and I'll explain what those are later. You definitely don't want an oxidizing flame. I tend to shoot for a neutral flame because that's basically a neutral flame is what you're going to need when you're using an oxyacetylene cutting torch, or if you've got a welding tips on it. But this is one thing I can say is in my field of expertise, guys, because for the past 25 years, or most of my life, I've been a welder, fabricator, done a lot of cutting, a lot of welding, stuff like that. So make sure you have some safety glasses. I usually wear shades or something like that, but for today I'm just going to go ahead and wear safety glasses. What you want to do is you want to make sure your knife, you want to make sure you got almost a 90 degree, because what's going to happen when you heat this blade up cherry red, so where a magnet won't stick to it, it's ready to quench in oil on 01 tool steel. What you do is you drop it down in here and swirl it around a little bit. Well, there'll be a flame shoot up out of there about 4 to 6 inches maybe. And if you had this straight on, your hands right over top of it, and you're going to get burnt. I'm going to wear gloves, but well, let's get it started here. I didn't go up and get a magnet. I'll look and see if I can't find a magnet. If not, I know what color that metal has to reach before it loses its magnetism. But and there's all kinds of fancy words that I can put in later if you guys want to know some technical stuff on how the steel changes, its molecular structure and all that. But just for the demonstration of this video, I'm just going to get started and see what we got. So let me get the torch set up, and I'll show you what a carburizing flame, a neutral flame, and an oxidizing flame looks like. Give me a minute. Okay, I'm back. What you see here, and I hope the wind don't mess with us too much. What you see here is what's called a neutral flame. I hope I can get into that. It looks like it's blurry or something. But I don't know if this is picking this up or not, but when you got a carburizing flame, what you have is that right there. See how that feather's coming out on them tips? If you have a neutral flame, it'll be nice and not overly sharp, but it'll be a good neutral, real hot flame. If you have a carburizing flame, what you're going to have is more, or oxidizing flame, what you're going to have is more oxygen. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see how sharp those tips are getting. But they will actually get so sharp they'll blow themselves out. And you can try it here. You want to back this back off until we have a carburizing flame, and then you want to adjust your oxygen to where it just brings it back out. So that's the flame and the heat that I'm looking for right there. And I'll go ahead and set this camera back up and start heating the blade up and talk to you a little bit about on the heating of the blade. Give me a minute, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Let's get to heat treating this blade. I hope we can keep everything in the camera here. It's a nice windy day today. I hope that wind ain't messing with the camera too much. But basically what you want to do is you want to heat straight down on top of the blade. You don't want the blade angled one way or another. You want to heat straight down on the blade from the spine down to the edge. And the reason you don't want to cock your blade one way or another, if that blade gets twisted one way or another, it'll apply more heat on one side than the other, and it'll actually warp your blade. So what you're looking for is a slow heat process, and you may be able to see the collar start to change down through there. You don't really need to heat treat the whole handle. You do need to heat treat part of the handle, but the whole thing is not necessarily. You don't want a real sharp edge right there where the heat treat is either, because we don't want any kind of a stress crack or a stress line in the metal. But slowly but surely, by heating this up, the blade will get real red hot all the way down through there, clear down to the tip. So let me get some heating here, and then I'll turn the camera back on and show you about what we got. It's real windy today, so that's kind of messing with my with the way this is heating up. So let me get her hot down through there, and we'll turn the camera back on. Once your blade gets red hot, sometimes you can get away with putting it on the flat a little bit, especially I have to do it now because my torch tip isn't really big enough for what I'm doing here. But you just got to heat it evenly. Now this blade is getting real close to the quench, and this is going to happen fast because I don't want this blade cooling down before I can get it quenched. So once I get it close to where it needs to be, I'll be throwing it in the oil real fast. You can see that mill scale. As that blade cools down, it creates a mill scale, and that's what we're trying to keep from doing. We want to heat this blade up as quick as possible without creating a bunch of melt spots on it by getting it too hot in spots. Okay guys, we're almost there. And the reason you want to keep swirling it around so that oil is cooling that blade down right. Evenly, I should say, because if it don't cool it down evenly, what you'll end up with is hardened soft spots, or you could end up with some kind of stress fracture in the steel. Now, I had a magnet right here, but like I say, I don't need to. When that steel reaches a certain point, it'll actually lose magnetism. A magnet will not stick to it. Once it hits that point, it is ready to quench in the oil immediately. You don't want to mess around or wait too long. But just to give you an idea, that's what they look like whenever they come out, pretty nasty. Now to test these knives, this blade is actually, let me make sure it's straight. Yep, it's straight, it didn't warp. To test these knives, what I usually do, let me see here. I don't know if I can show you, but it's straight. I go up and I get me a file and I rake across that blade, because right now this steel is as hard or harder than a file, and a file won't cut it. This is just the first part of heat treating a blade. The next part is to stick it in an oven and bring it up to around 500, 550 degrees, something like that, for about an hour. 1 hour per square inch of metal. So this blade will probably soak for about 3 hours at, say, 500, and I don't know what Rockwell I'm going to take it to yet. I'll have to look back up on the specs. It's been a while since I've heat treated 01. But the higher the temperature of the oven, the less Rockwell you have and the more flexibility. The lower the temperature, say like 350, it's going to be way up on the Rockwell scale in the 60s, but it'll actually be not as springy, it'll be brittle, so it'll snap. What I'm looking for is a good Rockwell, probably close to 60, maybe 57 to 60, and that way it'll give it a good springiness, but yet it'll also hold a good edge. So let me go up and get a file, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm back. We can get rid of these vice grips now. Just show you guys what I meant. Hear that? That file is skating across there. It's not removing any metal. As opposed to back here, listen to the Hear the difference in the sound? This back here can actually still be filed. Let me see if I can get that in film. See how back here, this is still soft steel. Once it gets up in here, it gets a little bit harder, and then out in here, it's real hard. It won't even, I mean, it's touching the surface, but it ain't doing nothing. It's just skating across it. So that tells me that the heat treat was successful, and that we've got a good hardened blade right now. Now guys, right now is when you do not want to sit here and drop this or smack this with a piece of steel. I could probably take these vice grips right here and probably just go crack, and it is break that blade right off. That blade is just like a file now. It's real hard and real brittle. So I hope you guys might have learned something there. And like I said, there was a couple people that had some blades that they wanted to heat treat, and yet they didn't know how. So I hope that shows you a little bit. Now there's other ways you can do it. You don't need a forge or a torch. You can actually build you a fire and get some forced air onto it, and you can go that direction. But the way I've done all my knives, and I've made quite a few over the years. I used to make them and sell them up in Columbus, but the way I've done them all, including this one here that I'm carrying, this is a elephant ivory, and it's a 01 tool steel, and it's a nice little knife. It's got fancy pins on it. There's no liners in it, but real comfortable knife. A little bushcraft knife that here recently I just started carrying because I don't have a neck knife right now, as you guys have noticed. I hardly ever go anywhere without my neck knife, and now I don't have one, so that's what these other blades are for. These blades over here are probably going to be a his and her neck knife for me and the wife. As you can see, they're a pretty small little blade, and it's kind of like a Scandi grind, and of course they're tanged, so this will get put back in something, bone, antler, Osage orange, something. But my wife, she has a Mora knife for a neck knife, and those knives are a little bit big, so I made me one, made her one. The other one that got sent off to a real nice lady up north. And Josie, I hope you really appreciate that knife as much as I have, and hopefully these knives will turn out as good as the one you're going to receive here in the next few days, because I really miss that little knife. But I'm going to go ahead and get these one heat treated, and I'll probably wrap up this video. I probably won't show these here. Same process, just heat them up cherry red and quench them in the oil, and then I've got to take these back home and stick them in the oven along with this one, and get these tempered back down, what's called tempering, or drawing the hardness back. And so like I say, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you might have learned something there a little bit, and thanks for watching, and until next time, we'll see y'all later.